This is about drama during Elizabethan and Jacobean era.
English Renaissance drama is sometimes called Elizabethan drama. The Elizabethan drama existed during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I from 1558 until 1603. Other sources also stated that English Renaissance is a term that embraces Elizabethan drama, Jacobean drama from 1603 until 1625, and the drama during the reign of Charles I from 1625 until 1649. Meanwhile, the Jacobean drama is a term that is used by scholars and critics to call plays during James I's reign. During the Renaissance era, there are three kinds of theater: public theater, private theater, and court theater. The first kind is public theater. For example, the Red Lion Theatre. The theater was built in 1567 at Whitechapel in the courtyard of a farmhouse. The Red Lion provided a model for the building of other Renaissance public theater. It had a raised stage with a trapdoor. Above it or near it was a high turret, while around the stage, which thrust into the audience, were scaffolds or galleries for other playgoers. The establishment of this theatre also happened at the same year regular playgoing in London began. The other theatre is the Globe Theatre, built in 1576. The theatre was built in Southwark and replaced the Red Lion. The theatre was built out of the timbers from the theatre, opened in 1599. The Globe is a public playhouse that is able to hold up to 3,000 spectators. It is the theatre most commonly associated with Shakespeare. The second kind of theatre is private theatre. In 1596, there was another development. A new roof theatre was built in the Blackfriars, originally known as Dominican Convent, near St. Paul's Cathedral. With benches for spectators and candles for lighting, it was intended to cater for a smaller audience than the Globe, but the residents of Blackfriars objected to its opening. Unlike the public theatres, private theatres such as the Blackfriars had roofs and specifically catered to the wealthy and highly educated classes of London society. In the 1600s, an acting company consisting of boys began using it, but in 1609, Shakespeare's company started playing there on a regular basis. The third kind of theater is court theater. The theater was played in the court, and the court also produced its own play called the Mass. A mass was a lavish dramatic entertainment often spoken in verse, usually performed by masked disguised players representing mythological or allegorical figures. Mass at Elizabeth's court emphasized the concord and unity between the Queen and the kingdom. A descriptive narrative of a processional mass is the Mass of the Seven Deadly Sins in Edmund Spenser's The Faerie Queene. In 1642, when the English Civil War started, the development of English Renaissance drama was in decline because of the authority at the time, when the Puritans gained control of London and the region around it. The Puritans, who were fighting King Charles I, were a group of English-speaking Protestants in the 16th and 17th century. The Puritans were against play acting because they thought play acting is sinful and immoral, and as a result, the theatre was closed until 1660. Elizabethan drama does not have a chorus and may have more than 3 actors. The drama of the Elizabethan age became an exercise for propaganda glorifying the king and the monarchy. There were political considerations as well as uncontrolled large crowds encouraging immoral behavior. Elizabethan drama was based on a rediscovery of classical models, and the performances were held in the open. Elizabethan drama forms are tragedy, history plays, and comedy. And the drama themes are history, anti-Semitism, revenge tragedy, supernatural, and comedy humorous. Jacobean plays were particularly violent, cynical, and pessimistic. It frequently dealt with the theme of society's moral corruption, and they used the theme of appearances versus reality. Jacobean plays satirize English class divisions, especially the dominating merchant class. Jacobean theatre sprang from a passion of the king and the queen, the musical drama, so it is full of masks, dramas with music and elaborate sets. The Jacobean plays were not full of romantic love, but grim satires of contemporary societies and contain a great deal of realism. There are a lot of famous playwrights during the Elizabethan and Jacobean eras. However, there are at least 4 playwrights who stand out. The first one is William Shakespeare. Shakespeare was born in April 1564. Stratford-upon-Avon, United Kingdom. He died at the age of 52 on April 23, 1616, in his birthplace. During his lifetime, Shakespeare had made a lot of famous works such as Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, The Tempest, Comedy of Errors, Julius Caesar, and Henry VII. Second major playwright during the Elizabethan and Jacobean eras is Christopher Marlowe. Marlowe was born on February 6 in 1564 in Canterbury. He died on May 13 in 1593 in Deptford. During his lifetime, Marlowe had made a lot of famous works such as Dido, Queen of Carthage, Dr. Faustus, Edward II, and Tamburlaine. The third major playwright of the Elizabethan and Jacobean eras is Francis Beaumont. Beaumont was born in 1584 in Gracedieu. He died on March 6, 1616 in London. During his lifetime, Beaumont liked to collaborate his work with other playwrights. The one Beaumont had the most collaborations with was John Fletcher. In fact, most of his famous works are the result of collaborations between him and John Fletcher. There are The Knight of the Burning Pestle, The Maid's Tragedy, and A King and No King. And last, John Fletcher. Fletcher was born in December 1579 in Rye. He died in August 1625 in London. During his lifetime, John Fletcher was a contemporary and collaborator of playwrights. The first of the plays Fletcher wrote in collaboration with Beaumont was The Woman Hater in 1607. But their most famous play was a tragic comedy, The Knight of the Burning Pestle in 1607. Fletcher's other famous work is A King and No King. Besides those major playwrights, there are numerous famous playwrights that contributed to English literature during the Elizabethan and Jacobean era. They are Thomas Middleton with his famous work, Women Beware Women, John Webster with his famous work, The White Devil and the Duchess of Malfi, Thomas Kite with his famous work, The Spanish Tragedy, Benjamin Jonson with his famous work, Folcopone, Thomas Dekker with his famous work, The Witch of Edmonton, and last but not least, George Chapman with his famous work, Translations of Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, and the Homeric Patrachomyomachia. With major playwrights come major plays in the Elizabethan and Jacobean eras. Hamlet is written by William Shakespeare between 1599 and 1601. It is also known as the tragedy of Hamlet and the Prince of Denmark. In the play, the ghost of the King of Denmark tells his son Hamlet to avenge his murder by killing the new king, Hamlet's uncle. Hamlet feigns madness, contemplates life and death, and seeks revenge. Macbeth is written by William Shakespeare and first performed in 1606. In the play, 3 witches tell the Scottish general Macbeth that he will be king of Scotland. Encouraged by his wife, Macbeth kills the king, becomes a new king, and kills more people out of paranoia. And here is a fun fact. There is a superstition in which mentioning the name Macbeth in a theater outside rehearsal and performance will cause disaster. Romeo and Juliet is written by William Shakespeare and premiered in 1597. It tells the story of an age-old vendetta between 2 powerful families that erupts into bloodshed. Dr. Faustus is written by Christopher Marlowe between 1589 and 1592. It is also known as the tragical history of the life and death of Dr. Faustus, and is based on the German character Faust. In the play, Dr. Faustus, a well-respected German scholar, grows dissatisfied with the limits of traditional forms of knowledge, logic, medicine, law, and religion, and decides that he wants to learn to practice magic. Every Man in His Humour is written by Ben Jonson in 1598 and performed by the Lord Chamberlain's Men in the same year at the Curtain Theatre. in London. The play opens with a prologue addressing the audience. This play will have no absurdities, but instead will be realistic in events and language. It will not whisk the audience away to a foreign land, but will portray a contemporary place and time for people to laugh at. And to close this video, here are some facts about the drama period of the Elizabethan and Jacobean eras. Before the age of Elizabethan drama, plays tended to be based on religious themes. Elizabethan dramas, however, focused more on secular issues. Learning about the heroic past of their country was important to England's playgoers. Tragedies of the era focused on creating a sense of both terror and pity in the audience. Perhaps for the first time, English patrons during the Elizabethan period could go to the theatre for a good laugh. One of the appeals for Elizabethan playgoers was the theatre's bawdiness. Sexual innuendo and sexual situations were common features in many plays. The Italian influence gradually became stronger in the early part of the 17th century. The English theatre was by then established and confident enough to take over foreign ideas without losing any of its individuality. Jonson became increasingly preoccupied by the dramatic unities, while other writers of the Jacobean period such as John Webster, Thomas Middleton, and John Ford favored a more definite separation of comedy and tragedy than had been the case in Elizabethan drama. They were given to sensationalism in their revenge plays, finding inspiration in Spanish cloak and sword drama, and in the darker moods of Seneca, and often set their own plays in Italy. Jonson angrily withdrew his contribution in 1634 when he saw that the visual elements were completely overtaking the dramatic content. When the Civil War broke out in 1642, the Puritans closed all the theaters and forbade public dramatic performances of any kind. This created a significant break in the acting tradition for 18 years, and after which the theater flourished once more, though along quite different lines.
Hello, we are from Group 3. Thank you for watching.